Hello, today we'll be talking about the current head of the Kamisato clan in Genshin Impact. The Pillar of Fortitude, Kamisato Ayato, who is the older brother of Ayaka. So let's begin. Kamisato Ayato is a playable Hydro character in Genshin Impact. He is the current head of the Kamisato clan, the older brother of Kamisato Ayaka, and the Yashio Commissioner. Resourceful and cunning, Ayato keeps a low profile than his sister and focuses on government affairs in the commission. Kamisato Ayato is a 5-star male character in Genshin Impact. His weapon is a sword and his vision is Hydro. Ayato's birthday is March 26, and his constellation is Cypressus Custos. Ayato comes from the nation of Zenizuma. He has 3 affiliations: the Yashio Commission, Kamisato Clan, and the Shuo Matsuben. His special dish is Quite Elegance, a variant of the Sakura Tempura. The Pillar of Fortitude is voiced by these 4 voice actors in the 4 localizations of Genshin Impact are Chris Hackney in English, Zhao Lu in Chinese, Ishida Kira in Japanese, and Jae Min-hyuk in Korean. He became a playable character on March 30th, 2022. He has 2 titles, which are Pillar of Fortitude and Head of the Kamisato clan. Ayato uses the tall male model. He has long pale blue asymmetrical shoulder-length hair, pale skin, and light purple eyes. He also has a small mole under his left corner of his mouth. His default outfit is called Silk Splendid, which consists of a white colored coat with long flowing sleeves, dark blue lights, and gold trimming decorated with a number of embellishments worn over a light purple kimono and white pants. He also has black and golden armor on his right shoulder, white and purple garments on both arms, black gloves, and a large golden rope around his neck. His vision hangs on a thick golden rope around his waist and on his right hip. His outfit is described as the kimono itself is made using uncommon fabrics, and its patterns recalls a mountain spring, giving off a feeling of calm and stability that matches its wearer. This outfit can be unlocked when you obtain Kamisato Ayato as a playable character. Ayato is a person that does not like to show his face often in public, preferring to work on his duties as the Yashio Commissioner. A well-known fact about him is that he's extremely busy and stressed, as he has to deal with corrupt government officials while juggling his duty as the leader of the Shuo Matsuben. Due to his duties, he loves small talk, wanting people to get to the point. He uses a large array of methods to deal with corrupt officials, usually within legal boundaries. While he is not particularly well known due to his preference to remain behind the scenes, those who are familiar with him note that he is incredibly kind and has inspired loyalty for many people. For example, Hirotatsu states that he continues to serve the Yashio Commission to repay the generosity that he had shown him and his master, and it is strongly implied that Ayato was the one who inspired Toma to the point the letter received a vision. Ayato had stated that he highly values loyalty and obedience, hence his preference for dogs. As strongly implied that there are numerous assassinations against him in the past, hence why he values those 2 traits so much to protect himself from rival clans and organizations. Despite his succession as the family head at a young age, he appears to be a mature and determined man, notably even more than Ayaka, who's known for her steadfastness. Like Ayaka, Ayato cares for the well-being of the common people. He is also a family man, as he had taken the position of commissioner per his parents' wishes to protect Ayaka in the process, starting that he would not forgive anyone who would harm his family and wanting to ensure that Ayaka and the others to rely on when she is needed. He also risked his life to smuggle the Watsutsumi army into Tenchukaku for the sake of doing a small favor for her. Ayato is also known to be cunning and mischievous, as both the shogun and Yumiko know him as unpredictable and tricky to understand, with the ledger strongly disliking him as a result. Nonetheless, he is tailored by both for upholding the shogun's will for the former and their duties generally aligning for the ledger. Hirosuka notes that whenever he hangs out with Toma, he ropes up into eating strange food, causing Toma to become terrified whenever he sees him. Ito remarks that Ayato is a warrior with great charisma and that the two are on the same wavelength. He is also able to find Seiyu with ease despite not appearing to have much ninja training, even though the rest of the Sutsuban have difficulty locating her. Kamisato Art Marabashi is Ayato's normal attack. The normal attack performs up to 5 rapid strikes, while the charge attack consumes a certain amount of stamina to dash forward and perform an EI, and the plumbing attack plunges from mid-air to strike the ground below, damaging opponents along the path and dealing AoE damage upon impact. Kamisato Art Kyoka is Ayato's elemental skill. Kamisato Ayato can shift positions and enter the Takameguri Kenka state. After this shift, he will leave a watery illusion at his original location. After it is formed, the water illusion will explode if opponents are nearby or after its duration ends, dealing AoE hydro damage. Within the Takameguri Kenta state, in this state, Kamisato Ayato uses his Shunsuken to engage in blindly fast attacks, causing damage from his normal attacks to be converted into AoE hydro damage. This cannot be overridden. It also has these following effects. After a Shinsuken attack hits its opponent, it will grant Ayato the Namnese effect, increasing the damage dealt by Shinsuken based on Ayato's current max HP. The initial maximum number of Namisen stacks is 4, and 1 stack can be gained through Shinsuken every 0.1 seconds. This effect will be displayed when Takameguri Kaiten ends. Ayato becomes resistant to any interruptions with increased, but is able to do any charge and plumbing. Is unable to do any charging and plummeting attacks in this state. Takameguri Kaiten is be cleared when Ayato leaves the field. Using Kamisato Art, Kyoka again while in the Takameguri state, will reset and replace the pre-existing state. Kamisato Art Swayu is Ayato's elemental burst. It unravels a garden of purity that silences the lycanthropy within. While this space exists, Bloomwater blades will constantly rain down and attack opponents within its AoE, dealing hydro damage and increasing the normal attack damage of characters within this field. Kamisato Art Mairo Moshitashi Kotaki is Ayato's first Ascension passive skill. It is active with Kamisato Art Kyoka, with the following effects. After it is used, Kamisato Ayato will gain 2 Nimsei stacks. When the water illusion explodes, Ayato will gain a Nimsei effect equal to the maximum number of stacks possible. Kamisato Art, Michiruku Hagatsu, is Ayato's 4th Ascension passive skill. If Kamisato Ayato is not in the field and his energy is less than 40, he will regenerate 2 energy for himself every second. Kamisato Art, Daily Cooking, is Ayato's utility passive skill. When Ayato's cooks a dish perfectly, he has an 18% chance to receive an additional suspicious dish of the same type. As clan head of the Kamisato clan, one of the great clans of the Tari Commission, Kamisato Ayato is a household name in Inazuma. However, people do not have quite the same clear impression of him as they do of the Shirazaki Himegami, the elegant and kind Ayaka. Most only know that he is an important figure in the shogunate and the head of the famed noble house. But as for the details, there is little that they can say for sure. Some people say that the Yashio Commission's festivals and events are meticulous and have been full of consideration for the people. Surely the commissioner's head is in all such matters. But others also say, but there is much to politics that should never see the light of day, and how could he have kept such a lofty position without a few tricks up his sleeve, Ayato himself is unfazed by such comments. Well, I consider myself merely a serious, skillful public servant who owes his allegiance to the almighty shogun. Kamisato Ayato, as the eldest son of the Inazuma men nobility, was greatly loved from the moment he was born. Though his parents were too busy to always spend time with him, they took good care of him, and in any case, the young master never lacked it for people around him to look after his every need. When he was somewhat older, he would, at his father's request, begin a complex district training regimen as a family successor. But not all went as well as they might have hoped, and the pleasures in the court and at home would weigh heavily on his father's health, resulting in his early passing. The young Ayato was thus thrust into a battle for survival of the clan's position. In those days, none were impressed by the inexperienced youngster. Ayato went from being an elegant and refined princeling to the poor young master of the Kamisato clan amongst the people, and that greenhorn amongst the political opponents. Time, however, would prove these people wrong. With extraordinary courage and some first-rate tactics, he did not leave the clan to languish. No, indeed, the Kamisato clan's position would grow more stable than ever. The heavy workload, malicious depictions, and attempts to frame him at every turn he pared away, even turning them into his own advantage. The passage of time has only increased the standing of the Yashio Commission's Kamisato clan in the shogunate and with the people. Today, Ayato is a clan head that's a great house like the Kamisato clan would be proud of, and the Yashio Commissioner acknowledged by all. The Yashio Commission is in charge of ritual matters on Narukami Island. It must also attend to the matters of cultural leisure in such a manner that desires and the people alike are pleased, and they do honoring their commission. But with greater responsibilities comes greater amounts of work. Fortunately, his sister Ayaka shares much of the clan's responsibilities, with most of the interactions between the commission and the people falling to her, allowing Ayato to spend most of his time on matters of governance. Dealing with the shogunate officials is not an easy matter. People come from different commissions and clans, and their perspectives are very different. Any single task grows harder as the number of people involved grows. Ayato's great strength lies in his ability to handle such matters. The way he sees it, people are driven by interest, find leverage, and the other side will be cooperance. Find some goal that will bring the other party around to your logic, then persuade them with the few choices produced for the occasion, and most problems can be resolved. And then dealing with the stubborn one merely needs to appeal to a higher power to bear. After all, what moral could gain the light of heaven itself, no matter how high their status or arrogant their attitude? Over time, the knowledge in Dish's Kamisato clan had gained quite the name for himself in the shogunate. This matter seems quite hard to handle. Should we ask the Kamisato commissioner? So people would often say, however, while Ayato is indeed full of ways and means, he will not simply help at any given moment. Firstly, not every task is related to the Yasho Commission. Secondly, it is simply not worth it for the Kamisato clan to get itself involved for the sake of others' petty profit. Mostly, Ayato will simply tag along as a junior figure, teacup in hand, doing little more than smiling. Ah, come on now, Mr. Nagagota. We are all loyal servants of the almighty shogun. Nothing more of it. We just need to open with each other, and I'm sure we can resolve this issue together. Being limited by his station and work, Ayato does not often appear in public, nor does he have much time for any sort of leisurely walk. However, these obstacles cannot hinder him from learning new and interesting things. Perhaps in the morning he might spy on one of the Ye publishing house staff poking her head around the place, seemingly here to report for work, in which case he may as well be pretend not to notice. Well, the better to hear what new methods she has for skipping work, and then accidentally let slip the newfound knowledge to Guji Ye. In a meeting with those old forgetties in the Tenshuhaku, there is no need to speak too quickly. After all, watching grown people argue till they are red in the face over petty issues is quite amusing. While walking through the streets, he might suddenly consider a certain unique snack stand. Going up to the owner, he'll ask if they are selling anything new, how his business is going, buy a drink or two to try, and if he feels it's interesting, he'll buy a few back for the rest of the household. Lately, he also lent some encouragement to a young Oni who frequents Hanamazaka due to the ledger's bug-fighting troubles. Out of the goodness of his heart, of course, he has also discovered that this Crimson Oni did not know what the name Ayato signified, which was fine, of course, no need to explain such things. On the way home, he might pass Chinchu Forest and see passers-by having tricks played on them by the Bentake Dakyuki, in which case he will point the illusion out. If the Ben Dakyuki should hone their challenging skills further on the account, why should they thank him for the inspiration? And of course, even one so talented as Toma might sometimes struggle to think of what to make for dinner. Such occasions are perfect for a hot pot game. After all, Ayaka always puts the most unexpected things into the pot. And how proud he is of his older sister for that. Yes, these things are indeed the spice of the Yashio Commissioner's life. Between the butler and the housekeeper, the Kamisato estate is always specced and spined inside out. Except for one location, Kamisato Ayato's table is always a terrible mess after he uses it. Books are spawned about, open and even dumped face down on the table. While documents are uneven sized and stacked haphazardly, the ink on the inkstone is never really properly kept, and one might even sometimes find chess pieces or cards under the table. Each time the clan head gets off work, the servants always need some time to clean his study up. In the process, they discover the assorted notes, or often clipped between these pages. Upon closer inspection, they are written in difficult hands, and their contents also varies. Clan head, the servants have sent a new batch of flowers. I have placed them in the flower vase in the corner of the table. Please take care not to knock it over again. Lord Commissioner, the Mario flowers have not withered. The branches are still growing. Do not worry. Dear brother, I learned a new recipe while attending festivities with the traveler. Considering that she is from another land, do you think that I might need to make some changes to said recipe? Clan head, the servants have been reluctant to tell you this, so allow the old lady to say it. If you wish to eat something, please leave it to our housekeeper. Also, please refrain from using the ingredients in the kitchen. How could we make you cook for yourself, after all? Ayato's work often sees him leaving home early and returning late. As such, the people of the Kamisato estate will communicate with him through these means. This was a method that Ayato came up with himself, and this is how the Kamisato household is run, via these small notes. Unfortunately, their use has seen the clan's head already messy table become messier still. Just a small sacrifice, nothing worth writing about. Home. In Inazuma, people will sometimes pray to deities by offering certain kinds of cypress leaves, but as such, which still lack scale, they are often forgotten amidst the many, both large and small, that are conducted throughout the land. Though some time has passed, Ayato still remembers his mother mentioning that these cypresses are evergreen. Their leaves are no needle-like. Instead, they have large crisp leaves that will not wither and fall even when new ones grow. As such, it is associated with the concept of prosperity and was often used in ancient times as a ritual planting for food offerings. Today, people no longer use leaves as mats upon which to spread food, but the habit of offering cypress leaves presents nonetheless. Perhaps it was just a hobby of hers, or perhaps she was just well-read in general. But whenever the case, his mother always had a great deal to say about the festival affairs. Perhaps the Kamisato clan of the Yashio Commission were born to protect these deities. In his younger years, Ayato has not fully agreed with this statement. He believed the Kamisato clan was the Kamisato clan, and that it belonged to the family members. That was the reason for its existence, and any service to the gods was a job, a matter of circumstance. But such prisoners' words could never be said out loud, and in any case, Ayato could not bear to interrupt his mother when she looked so excited. No matter how long she would go on, Ayato would always sit in front of her and listen in silence, even if his legs might fall asleep in the process. With the passing of years, Ayato's days would be taken up by swordsmanship and books. The one giving him the lessons was now his father, and the lesson content would turn from ritual affairs to matters that clan's successors should be concerned with. His duty to the clan would be something that would occupy yet more space in Yato's life. Nor was the riding shogun just a mere symbol as she was in his childhood. Now she was the Ogosho, the mighty defender of Inazuma's eternal peace. The Kamisato clan stands today because of Narukami's mercy. As such, the clan must defend the road of eternity and follow the shogun eternally. This was our agreement, and it is the unchanging rule of our clan. Remember this well. As the specifics of what happened, Ayato had already gathered some of it from reading ancestral teachings. It was the Kamisato elders' failings that had resulted in naturally important Raiden Gokins to suffer great loss. If not for Genyuye's intervention on behalf, causing the shogun to show some mercy, the Kamisato clan may have joined others in falling from grace and ceasing to exist. This was the grace of Her Excellency, and at the same time, it was a warning from her servant. As such, Ayato never snubbed his father's teachings, though he still believed in protecting his clan above all else. He also understood that Inazuma was sustained by the Electro Archon's protection. Only peace in Inazuma could guarantee the longevity and prosperity of the clan. No matter how things might change in Inazuma, the Kamisato clan alone would never betray the almighty Narukami. Even if the heart said definitely, he could only bury it deep beneath well-maintained appearances. Just as his mother said back then, the divine protected surface will sprout new leaves from ancient branches, so too can the camellia in the courtyard remain fragrant even in the most bitter winter. Even Kamisato Ayato himself could not have expected the calligraphy practice. Each he had found most boring in his youth would eventually become a favorite pastime of his. He had slobbered through much penmanship practice to better play the part of the Kamisato clan's eldest son, but nowadays he transcribes a few poems from time to time to clear his mind and think in silence. Of course, this also lets him seem like he is busy with official business even while idle, all the better to avoid seeing some people and doing certain things. With time passing, it became agreed upon among the servants riding on him that he would only like to play chess, but was also fond of calligraphy. Such talk would spread widely via word of mouth, and such Ayato often receives excellent brushes as gifts during festivals or birthdays. Some of more selective have even brought him exquisite and expensive quill pens from overseas. Ayato has never attempted to clarify this matter, but instead had a lovely wooden case made in which he stores such stationery. He has also been interested in all things, and trying out these new pens is indeed fun. However, moreover, these gifts often say much more about the person who sent them. Such information that thus becomes one of the means by Ayato can get a handle on them. That said, through their claims to have brought this case to store stationery, these are 3 pens that Ayato has never placed it inside it. One of them, a slim and well-crafted, it is placed on his desk. It shows signs of some wear and tear, but it writes well, and it used for writing pensions. The second one is stored in the dresser of the bottom. It's a fine tip, having seen much lovely use in the past when Ayato was practicing calligraphy. Its beginner-friendly nature also saw it borrowed quite well often by Toma and Ayaka back in the day. As the third, it is stored deep within the wooden cabinet used to store antiques, sealed with a silk bag. Excellent of make and design, it is presented to him by his mother during his adulthood ceremony. One night, many years ago, Ayato's gravely ill father summoned him into his presence. That night, his father seemed a little different from the illness-weathered figure he had become. His expression was solemn, and yet the concern in his lips and eyes was well too clear. Forcing him to stay alert, he asked Ayato, was his training done? Had he eaten enough for dinner? Was his swordsmanship progressing? As Ayato replied, his father nodded with a smile, seemingly satisfied, yet his expression would quickly darken as if there was something he wanted to, but could not say. After much hesitation and under his wife's melancholic gaze, his father would finally speak, his voice heavily. Ayato, remember, no matter what happens to the Kamisato clan in the future, you are our eldest son. Ayaka's elder brother, a successor to the Kamisato clan, is proud to have. After remaining by his father's side for a while west, Ayato would take leave of his parents and return to his bedroom. The moment he opened the door, he saw the shining vision lying on his desk. Ayato had heard since he was young that visions are signs of the gods, favor, born of human wishes. Since his youth, he had longed to become the family pillar, not for any great work, but to ensure that the clan would prosper and protect them. That this vision should appear now meant that perhaps the time had come for him to take that burden. So thinking, Ayato did not call for the servants to light the lamps. Instead, he merely sat down beside the table. Many things followed through his mind, then take a tide. His father was gravely ill, and his mother was also unwell. The clan was leaderless, and the competition eyes is present and power hungry, as they had for some time now. His sister was still young, and he had to ensure that she grew up safely. The shogunate courts were like a sea full of hidden reefs. One had to tend most carefully there. They could not let go of the shitsuban, a common over which had passed down through the family for generations. As for the servants, some might still be trusted should the Kamisato clan's strength wear, and as for Toma, who had came from the different land, though he was a friend and usual ally both, would be considered their own opinions should the Kamisato clan truly fall. These scattered thoughts would greatly straighten themselves out in Ayato's mind, and at their center was his still unchanged conviction. He would use his means at his disposal to secure the safety of his family and its future. Obstacles to that goal would be cleared away, no matter the cost. That night, the vision was the only light that occupied him. And when the first light of the next dawn alighted upon the desk, the young heir was already prepared to face the world. From Kamisato Ayaka's character information, we already know that the surname means God's village, and so forth. Ayato's name, however, means mature man and thrilled human. His constellation name of the orange represents either a cypress or the type of oak. The ambiguity comes from the Chinese character bai and the Japanese character kashiwa, which represents a cypress in Chinese, but refers to a specific type of oak and tree in Japanese. In both cases, these trees are regarded as sacred trees in Shinto that symbolize eternity, which is Inazuma's ideal. It also may refer to the hinoki tree in Japan, a type of cypress there known for its strength and resistance because of its durability. It is often used as wood materials for Shinto shrines. A scholar says the language of flowers associated with Heoki in Japanese culture is immortality and undying. The original name of the constellation in Chinese means Divine Guardian Cypress Constellation. In English version, it's Latin for just Guardian Cypress. Fact 1. The pattern on Ayato's coattails are camellias. Camellias are also heavily featured in his elemental burst animations. Fact 2. Ayato shares his Chinese and Japanese voice actors with Otto Apocalypse from the Honkai series. His Chinese voice actor, Zhao Lu, has also voiced Artem Wing from Tears of Demons as his simplified Chinese voice actor. Fact 3. Ayato's character demo appears to take place during omnipresence over mortals indicated by the fireworks Seiyu hiding behind some bushes near Tenshaku, as well as the mention of the resistance platoon. Fireworks were used as a distraction in order for Seiyu to sneak into Tenshaku to steal documents of collaboration between the Tenryou Commission and the Fatui and the Watatsumi resistance arrive at Tenjikaku right after the Traveler in Paimon exited. Fact 4. During the almighty Oritaki Great and Glorious Jomlong's festival, Ayato signs a message with the same name, TCG, by the Ayato. And that's Kamisato Ayato. Next time, we will going over the Tenryou Commission with the Tengu of the Kujo clan, Kujo Sara. So see you next time.